Hi guys, hope you can hear us. We're here at the forum and we just want to welcome everybody on. Can everybody hear us? We're on our Zoom quarantine edition forum again. How are you guys doing out there?
Hello, hey, hi Monet.
Hey, Senue, what's up?
Pretty good.
Who else is on? Michelle? Shruti, you can
Hey
hear us?
guys.
Yes,
Hey.
we can hear you. Hello,
Microphone
everyone.
check.
Oh, Prentice, I hear you. And we actually have a lot more people on the Zoom today, which is super cool. Yesterday, we were just rattling around by ourselves. So it's good to have a good group today. Thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome back to the forum where we discuss social and cultural issues using facts, history, and logic from a Christian perspective. My name is Monet, and with me tonight, I have
Michelle Alexis.
Sino Figueroa.
And Prentice White.
And we have a very special guest, Dr. Sruti Lam, all the way from the land of the sun. Dr. Shruti, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sruti Lam. I am here in San Diego, and I'm a naturopathic doctor. So thank you for inviting me on the forum today.
Well, we're happy to have you, and I think you'll contribute very greatly to our discussion today. It has been an interesting second week of quarantine, and we had another topic stewing in our brains that we wanted to talk about. How's that out there in Cali? You guys are on lockdown, right?
We are on lockdown, yes.
What state?
So we're all at stay-at-home order, which is called shelter in place.
Okay.
And it started off in Northern Cal, basically in the Bay Area first, where everybody was shelter in place first. And now the governor put out the order for the rest of the state. That being said, the streets are empty, and clean.
Okay.
So a lot of people are not able to go out. A lot of people are able to work from home. Only the essential workers are able to walk out. So that being healthcare workers, the grocery stores are open, pharmacies, labs. Most of those places are really open, but there is very strict enforcement on how you can actually go and shop and do things.
So you guys are still able to get essentials and kind of, live. It's just you're living inside your house. That's it.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I think we were going to do something similar here in Houston, right, Michelle? But it kind of ended up being like a lesser version of shelter in place. Oh, Michelle, you're on mute.
Sorry. They thought the shelter in place was too severe. So instead of that, there you have the stay at home. What's the rest? Stay at home.
Work from home.
Work from home.
Something like that, yeah.
So they're still encouraging people to stay home, and only essential businesses are supposed to be open. But the list of essential businesses is actually pretty long.
It's pretty long.
Like my company is considered essential, but
hey, liquor stores are open. They're considered essential.
It was like number 2 on the list behind hospitals.
Yes, and I was wondering the reason for that. Do you guys know the reason? Well, they said that because people that use alcohol regularly, if you stop for them the access to alcohol, they will go into withdrawal. And they will run to the hospital or to the emergency room, and they will use time and resources that otherwise are needed.
But the grocery
that unfortunately makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think of that, Sinue. That's really good. But you know what? You seem to be doing okay, Shruti, in your quarantine. You look great. You don't look like you're going crazy. Me, I'm a little antsy. I'm not quite like climbing the walls, but I'm a tad. I wouldn't say on edge, but I can tell things are not the same. How are you guys doing out there?
All right. So I am one of the lucky few that actually get to go out of the house. And I go to work. So I work in a private clinic. It's not the hospital, so it's not as stringent as the hospital is. However, we still have screening right outside our door. We ask all the CDC regulated questions. We do have protective gear. It's not the N95 mask. It is the minimum protection we have, because every patient who's coming in with any of the COVID symptoms, which I'm sure everybody's reading about, and I can talk about it, are directly sent to the ER or the urgent care. So we are still helping our patients with refills of medications, cardiovascular symptoms, all the regular things that we're able to do, as long as it is, even though it's elective and not emergency. You see
Wow.
that? Yeah.
Let me tell you about ANSI. Okay. Today I venture out. Today, and I went to HEB. And they're doing great. They're doing great. They have these stickers on the floor to measure, to make sure that you keep your social distance.
Yeah.
But they have all this protocol, like you cannot approach the cashier unless she calls you, and then when you pay, if you pay cash, you have to. The cashier told me, put the bill on the surface, please, and then I don't know. It's like you cannot touch the bill at the same time that she's touching the bill or something like that. Stand behind the glass, please. And she was doing all the things to do protocol that I was fearful to break protocol. I feel like, have you seen that movie Monsters Inc.?
Yeah.
When the guy when the monster comes in and then he gets contaminated by the sock, and all the guy says, CC19, and everybody jumps on them. I was fearing that will break protocol and everybody will come up, from the ceiling screaming and jumping on me like that. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that is kind of scary. I mean, like you, Shruti, I get to go to work, so I'm grateful for that. I get to leave the house, but still it's not the same. There's no visitor. It's crazy. Right. And so they screen us at the door of the hospital. And like you insinuate, they ask all the questions, they're like, where have you been? Have you been anywhere in the past 2 weeks? Have you been out of the country? I was like, no. And so I'm late. So I'm trying to get to the elevator. And I literally took like one step in the direction of, and the security was like, whoa, social distancing. And I was like, I'm back. I am so sorry for violating your space. It's a little antsy out there. People are beside themselves. Michelle, you don't have any stories? Come on. Well, you've been in the house though.
Well, yeah, I've been in the house because I started working from home last week. But I guess my perspective is a little different. I always thought, oh, it would be great to work from home and you can have all this time and wear your pajamas and all this stuff. But I feel like working from home, I do like twice as much work. Like I feel like I'm working all day.
That's funny.
So it hasn't really been the ideal or what I thought it would be.
Right. Well, I mean, our subject tonight is fear, news, and the facts. Like, what are you afraid of? And I feel like the current climate is very filled with fear, with anxiety. We have whole states that are on lockdown, whole cities. Even the kids are at home wondering what's going on with their lives. And I just want us to have a conversation about that, because we have a lot of people out there who are feeling very fearful for a number of reasons, and being cooped up in the house is not helping half of them even deal with it. So let's take it from, I guess, a health perspective first. And Dr. Lam, if you could talk to us about like what does fear even do? How does it affect our bodies?
Very good question. So fear is just the word itself has a lot of connotation to it. But if you're looking at it in the health perspective, fear gives rise to anxiety, to stress, and that can really lead into a lot of health symptoms, so like palpitations of your heart, insomnia, which you can't sleep properly, stress eating, obesity, overwhelm. So fear by itself is not the problem. It's all the other things that come with it. So anxiety, depression, overwhelm. People, domestic violence has increased with it. Suicidality has increased with it. Hatred has come so much with it. Racism. So a lot of different things associated with fear that have caused a lot of health symptoms. And that's what we're seeing more at our clinic than just, okay, what is this COVID virus? It's more all the fear and all the symptoms associated with it.
Wow, thank you for that, because I've seen all of that. You know, I'm a social worker, so we deal with a lot of that. And I think it's important to also note that fear in and of itself, it's not unhealthy. Like, fear is a healthy thing. I think it's the
Right, to an
sustained
extent.
fear. Right. That's kind of
Right.
running us all into problems right now, Michelle.
Right, because fear, it's responsible for our flight or fight,
Right.
um, empowering us to act, whether that's to defend ourselves or to try to figure out a, way out of the situation. But I think when the level of fear gets too high, and I actually found this interesting chart, and it had like an intensity, fear intensities. Um, and so it went all the way down from trepidation to nervousness, and then going to anxiety
Oh, okay. Okay.
is pretty high right now, because like even before the corona virus came about, well, this particular one came about, 19% of American adults experience some type of um, psychological disorder or anxiety or depression or something like that. So now everyone's anxiety is pretty high. After
Right.
anxiety is dread, and then desperation, panic, horror, and terror. So I don't think we've gotten to those latter ones yet, maybe
Right.
in some other countries, but there's definitely a lot of anxiety, dread, nervousness right now. And I think it's largely because of how this is being portrayed in the media, you know?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of stories, a lot of rumors, a lot of different things swirling around in the media, in our own minds, based on history, what we've seen as a country, as a world. So definitely a lot of reasons perhaps to be fearful, but then sometimes, we were saying before, the fear kind of can go above and beyond sometimes what the actual facts are presented in our face. I wonder, Dr. Lam, if you could talk about flattening the curve for a second, because I think it's really important for us to even remember or to understand why we are quarantined like this, because just the quarantine itself, I feel, is bringing a lot of fear and, like you said, trepidation, Michelle, and those different things into our minds, and we're sitting in the house stewing about it. But what's the benefit? What are we trying to get out of this thing that we're all sacrificing to do together?
Well, before I say that, I just remembered a meme that I saw this morning.
The
There
dog.
was a dog that was lying exhausted on the floor and said, "That's the 6th walk I had today. What the hell is the corona?"
I think I saw that. That dog was worn out.
So that being said, people are not used to staying at home or social distancing or being quarantined.
Yeah.
This is all very new. And the fact that we're doing this is because it's a virus. And before I even talk about social distancing, why are people even are distancing themselves, or why is this something that has been put on? Is because social distancing will prevent the spread of the infection.
Okay.
So
Okay.
virus 19 is a virus that is spread through droplet infection. So it's respiratory, but touching your face, it's present in your nasal sinuses, your mouth, me speaking. So that's why we're telling people to keep a distance of 6 feet or 2 meters away. So that way, all the droplet that's here, for example, in this room, if I was a carrier right now, I could be spreading it to somebody else that walks into this room. And so the more you distance yourself, the better. That way you don't get to spread that infection. And that's basically what flattening the curve is to avoid spreading the infection from one person to another person. And by decreasing that, and the virus remains in your body if you get infected for between 2 to 10 days. So if I got infected last Saturday, then 2 Saturdays from now, I can still have the virus without having any symptoms. And if I come in contact with you, you can spray it on without having any symptoms as well. And that's why social distancing is one way to flatten the curve.
Wow, you explained that super well. And just when you're talking, I can see why it might build anxiety, because it's almost like we're fighting something that we cannot see. and we
It's
can't
invisible.
immediately see the effects of our efforts, it's something that will come out later. So maybe that's why people are experiencing a lot of anxiety and fear, because it's not something that you can see, immediate.
Right,
It's
they
not like a
can't
play by play
control
like a
it.
basketball game, which is also gone, so people are even more anxious. So we're fighting it silently in our homes, and that can be pretty anxiety.
I read somewhere that the one of the important things about flattening the curve also is like trying not to overwhelm the health system, right?
Right.
Because it says
Right.
if the curve is acute, probably we can go around and hug each other and give kisses to each other, and we all gonna be sick. We all gonna be sick at the same time, and
Right.
in 3 weeks, this thing is gonna be over.
Right.
But if we go all sick at the same time, the social system, the health system is going to be overwhelmed and it's going to crash. So what they want to do is flatten the curve so it would overwhelm the health system. But the problem also with that is the acute curve is short, the flattened curve is long. So that keeps us in this for a longer time.
You're right about that. So I guess we can see why the social distancing, even up until the quarantine measures, would be really beneficial at this time. I'm wondering though, what is going on with some of this extreme behavior that we've been seeing? You know what I mean? Like, somebody explain to me the toilet paper. I know people have been talking about it, but honestly, I need somebody to break that down to me. What is the deal with, yes, Senue, I see a hand.
There's this phenomenon called FOMO, and it
FOMO.
sounds like YOLO, but it's not quite like that. FOMO. It stands for fear of missing out. So the thing is, you see like a truckload of toilet paper. Just people's like buying toilet paper like crazy. It has no correlation with the sickness whatsoever. There's no gastrointestinal symptoms around.
Are you sure?
I don't know. What's the worst conversation? The worst combination, they said. It's really bad when you have cough. It's really bad when you have the runs, but you have both at the same time. That's something. That's something. Pretty bad. So
That's why they need the toilet paper.
probably. Well, I mean, just imagine, somebody was in his house and they were peeking through the window to the neighbors and they just see the
Yeah.
neighbor, storing piles of toilet paper. And they said,
Yeah.
they said to the wife, have you seen the neighbor? Well, what is doing that? What is he stockpiling toilet paper? And the wife says, I don't know, but you better go to the store or it's going to run
Right.
out. It might start
Yeah.
like that. And it started here. And now people in Mexico is also in a shortage of toilet paper because they saw it on Facebook. And it's just psychology of the mass.
Yeah, like that group psychology. You know what? To be honest, I remember reading stories about the Great Depression here in the US. And these older people, they were talking about how everything was in such a shortage that if they saw a line for something, they would just join it. They didn't know what the line was for, but they would just join the line because they would rather stand there and wait for something that they could be short on later than to go home and find out that they needed something and now you can't get it because it's all out. But I mean, there's not really a shortage of toilet paper. I just think it's one of those extremes that kind of just got out of hand.
Same principle. And I was thinking probably by second week or so, this is going to level out itself. But I told you, I went to HEV and there's still no toilet paper.
Still can't find any.
No.
And now people are taking all the baby wipes.
But
Right.
they're flushing the baby wipes through the pipes and now they're damaging the pipes.
Septic system. Yes.
Yes.
That's crazy. What else? What other kind of like rumors or stuff have you heard?
Well, I
There's
mean,
different things. There's different mentalities, and psychologists are really calling it one. It could be a control issue. It's like there's something that's within my control, and if I have it, if I'm quarantined, then I have enough to survive on.
Right.
The other thing is the hoarding issue, where people are just, if I have it, it's with me, I'm hoarding it. If something happens, a disaster strikes, I have it with me. And
Right.
so, and it's mostly peer pressure when one person starts and then more people just get on that same boat and keep doing it again and again. And now we're just out of it. So those
So
are the
what I
two
hear
things
you
I'm
saying
thinking.
is like the hoarding is almost like a coping mechanism for the fear and anxiety that they're feeling about the situation.
That is correct. Yes. A coping mechanism, a control issue. I just need to have these at home to survive if something does happen. So a lot of different things with it.
I want to take a pause and acknowledge some of the people that might be on with us. Can we get some shout outs from some people?
I was thinking the same, and that was, that was a great segue. I was saying we have a small mob of people here
We
right
do.
now at the
It's so
forum.
awesome. This is the best.
Yes. So apart from the people that you're seeing and you're hearing right now, we have Mr. iPhone. Well, he
Hey,
doesn't
Mr.
have his
iPhone.
name. Yes, hello, Mr. iPhone. We have Jason Alexis, who is in the background, always helping, directing. Good, thank you, Jason. We have Miss T.
Hi.
We have We the Africans.
Hello.
Hello, hey, hello. We have Jason Peterson. We have Alma. Hey, Jason, how you doing? We have a Swarna iPhone. So yes, hello to everyone. Thank you for joining the forum. And yeah, we feel loved.
This is Jason here. I would love to get, what are your guys' comments on what we said so far? Did anything touch you? Is it the extreme? What extremes you guys heard? If anyone can jump in, maybe one person, we'd love to. Oh, the GTG, but thanks. Okay, we have Ryan and Kristen. Anyone wants to jump in who is with us tonight? If you can, you could do it now. If not, we can move on, but feel free to join the conversation.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you.
While you're thinking, if you're watching us online, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, please comment. Be part of the conversation. We're checking those comments as well. Like, share, and subscribe. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. In fact, I think, Sinue, you had a question this week, right? What were some of the responses to what you posted?
Yes, we posted a question on the community, on the forum group on Facebook. Let me get to that, and then I can tell you what's some of the answers that the people
I think you were
contributed
asking
to.
how COVID. Mm-hmm.
How COVID-19 has impacted your life. How has the COVID-19 impacted you and your life? And we have quite a share of people here. We have Sylvia Rambaran. It said she had a negative impact because employers still expect you to work to get paid, but nothing is the same. Kids are home from school. Kids have assignments to complete, which she's grateful for, but also hard to do, both teach and work. And on the positive side, she says that the family is together, and it's kind of rare to see the whole family together other than weekends. But she's trying to find creative ways to have fun. And we have some other comments as well. We have Elifer Fernandez, which she commented in Spanish. I'm gonna show my translation skills here. It says, yes, I want to do it. It says she's feeling sad because she can see how fragile we are, and she's affected a lot for all that she's coming in. And but she see that the good part of this is that God says in His Word that everything will work out for good.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that very much. You know, I saw a meme that said that the only thing that is transmitted, I'm paraphrasing because the only thing that's more contagious than a virus is hope. And I found that was really comforting to me, because just as much as fear is going around, just as much as this virus is even going around, you know, kindness and people helping each other is also going around. So I feel like there's some other things that we can draw from this other than just we're about to get sick. You know, we can see like people helping neighbors and giving of their supplies, you know, when they're running low. Things like that make me really hopeful. Have you guys been able to give out any of your supplies? I gave somebody some toilet paper the other day. It was great.
I haven't had the opportunity to yet, but I saw this really nice post. A woman was looking for wipes for her child because everyone's buying the wipes because the toilet paper is gone. And she found somebody who, so she posted about it, and someone commented like, yeah, I got some and I'll sell them to you for this amount of money. And then like 1 million people jumped on the post and were like, hey, I'll give it to you for free. I can meet you.
Right.
Where are you? And it was really nice to, it's a shame that times like these are when everyone kind of, comes together, but it is nice. And I hope that, after this is over, people can be a little more humane to each other and be more compassionate to each other.
One would hope so. I mean, what are some tips that we can give people? We're talking about fear. We're talking about how to cope with that anxiety, stress. What are some tips? Dr. Lam, I don't know if you have anything that you would like to share with us as far as how we can get ourselves through this. I don't know if from a health perspective, psychological, what can we do?
So, I just said, if you have anything to say, please raise your hand. Yes, if there is somebody who wants to say something, you can say, I think Jason Peterson, you want to say something before I say something there? Okay. Jason Peterson actually works for UCSD, so I thought he would have some tips as well.
Okay.
So you're asking for healthcare tips or how to?
Oh yeah, let's start with that. Let's start with that because we've heard the wash your hands. So is that the extent of the things that we can do for ourselves at home to kind of relieve some of our anxiety about COVID-19?
My favorite thing that's happening from this COVID-19 is people are actually learning to wash their hands.
I know, that's right. Go figure.
Yes.
Michelle is like, that's the gospel right there.
Singing the songs. This is what we need.
Because I have absorbed in my organism so much soap and sanitizer that every time that I go to the restroom to relieve myself, I also clean the toilet.
Anyway,
it deodorizes. It just by itself.
I feel like I work in a hospital, so I already wash my hands a ton. Like my mom is a nurse. I've learned to wash that's something that I just do. So this whole wash your hand thing, I'm just like, life.
Right. Well, so other than washing your hands and distancing yourself and being able, the kindness that Michelle was talking about, which we can see so clearly. The other day in my neighborhood, I saw somebody have a table full of free things and there was toilet paper on it and vibes saying free to collect. Whoever needs it, just take some, and flowers everywhere. And so it's more and more people are understanding what the other might be feeling or trying to understand how to help somebody else in need.
Yes.
A lot of our churches now are starting midweek prayers. We're having morning prayer and evening prayers, and a lot of things that we can actually use our technology for. My group Bible study, we actually had the same Zoom video chat done last week, and people from Brazil were able to connect, people from Chicago were able to connect. So in one way, it's social distancing is basically physical distancing. But don't forget to use technology where you can now FaceTime your family, use Skype, talk to them on a regular, reach out to people that you know are like in nursing homes or in places where they don't get to go out. My colleague, her grandmother is 96 and is in a nursing home, and she's not even allowed to leave her room.
Yeah.
So people are just calling them and talking to them. And so use this time to actually connect to other people. And that would be, other than the physical things, there are a lot of mental and emotional things you can reach out to your friends or family for to help with them.
I have also discovered that there's other people living in this house, other humans.
What?
Yeah. and some of them are actually really tiny. They're like tiny humans running around and they scream. I don't know if you have heard them, but you might, at some point.
Does it sound something like daddy?
Well, I don't know. They call me like that, but they don't look familiar much to me.
I guess that is a benefit, actually the mayor, the Houston Mayor, Sylvester Turner, he was on this afternoon talking about that being one of the primary benefits of the quarantine, is that families are spending an unprecedented amount of time getting to know one another. And for better or for worse, that he thinks that it's a good thing that families are actually spending this time educating their kids, learning about their kids. You know, there are a lot of silver linings to this.
Right. One of my favorite silver linings is there's not too many cars outside, so there's no traffic.
Traffic has been great.
There's no airplanes. Where I live, we have the fighter jets and the military always flying. And so there's not a single airplane. So noise pollution has decreased.
Mhm.
And I was reading this afternoon that the ozone layer is actually starting to heal itself and grow back again because of no exhaust from cars.
That's
Oh,
true.
you brought a very, very great point, because I seen many news pieces. I don't know if they're real or not. You know, have you seen those the Venice canals in
Oh, yeah.
Italy? And they said the dolphins were and now the water is crystal clear, and that
Yeah.
the animals in Italy are taking over. You know, the nature is coming back and taking over.
Right, right. I think it really ties into our feeling of community. You know, during times like this where you see the best in people and the worst in people, um, it almost reminds people of, you know, for lack of a better, you know, like the theory of evolution, how it says that it's only survival of the fittest is what's going to drive the species forward. Well, I mean, actually, there have been studies that show that human beings who think on a higher level than animals actually need community. So it's not about putting the other person down. It's not about stealing that last thing of toilet paper that's going to push us forward. It's really about the sharing. It's about the hope. It's about the community. And it's about the joint effort towards a common goal that's really going to do us the best good. And that's kind of what we're doing here with this quarantining. You know, we're banding together, even though we're apart, we're doing the same thing so that we can achieve a common goal, which is to flatten that curve and hopefully help a lot less people die from this disease.
Mm-hmm.
And
At,
that's a
at
good comment you made there. And this is Jason here, and offline. And when you think about community, you think about people, you think about empathy, you think about compassion.
Right.
And you know, there's a story in the Bible, right, Prentice? We were talking about it. I think you mentioned it, with Jesus and the leper and the communities that they were forced to form, and the fact that they were social distancing, right, Prentice?
Yeah, that when we're talking, I think it was in Matthew that Jesus was interacting with the lepers, and we were talking about how, you know, I think that the story is fairly well known as far as him going and healing the lepers, and it was actually cultural and, you know, in biblical that you know, a social distancing from people who were sick. You know,
Right.
so that this is not a new concept. We knew this, you know, way back in Leviticus, where God said, hey, you know, hey, if you're not feeling well, you can
Right.
stay over there.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, we also see the example from Jesus that just because somebody is different, or they're you know, they're having a hard time, doesn't mean that you can give them a harder time. You know,
Right.
we need to be compassionate to our fellow man
Right.
and women.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
Yes.
Moni, that meme that you talked about, there's a kind of there was one that was mentioned, the virus or even leprosy, even
Hmm.
the COVID-19 is passed from what person to person,
Mhm.
but that bringing back that whole idea of hope, could that
Right.
also be the same way? It's contagious. Could it be? Is it contagious as well? Is
It
fear contagious?
absolutely can. And I think we can see that honestly in the examples of our men and women who are on the front lines of this, you know, our healthcare workers, our first responders, even our law enforcement, even our public officials, you know, some of the people who are continuing to work, who are going in, you know, they have this whole essential versus non-essential. And that's like a labor designation, but honestly, we're all essential. We all have a part to play. And I really give kudos to those people who are on the front lines treating people who have the virus, who might have the virus. You know, sometimes people come to the hospital, you don't know if they do or not. You have to send the test out and you have to still treat them. And they're not allowing the fear to get in the way of their compassion. I have nurses on my unit and sometimes they're very frazzled, to for lack of a better term, but they're still in there day after day, taking care of people, touching people with gloves, of course, but still not not holding back from that human connection just because they're scared of what they might themselves get or take home to their families. You know, there's a very real fear out there, but they're conquering it through that human compassion. And I feel like that's a godly thing that's put in them, you know. Yeah,
So we can make hope go viral. You
absolutely.
know, and the idea of fear, faith over fear, is something we can. I know, Sin, where you talked about that during one of the Wednesday night comment. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but as much as the physical aspect, leprosy can physically go from person to person. I think that whole idea of making hope go viral has been a silver lining in this, because people are more amenable to hear about God. They're more amenable to understand that there's more than just the politics. There's more than just the bickering. There's more than just these people. And I think how do we, share that hope? And Christ was at the center of that. But Sinway, you have any thoughts on that? The whole faith over fear, and how we can use this time to be compassionate.
Yes, definitely. And let's think about other people, because maybe you are a calm people, very centrical about all this, and you have this hope, that's fine. But you also have to think about other people as well. I have a business in which I prepare taxes for people. So I have this interaction one-on-one with people, and which, right now, because of the social distancing, is not, I'm not practicing, but over the phone, I talk with a client, and she's an older lady. And I always ask, how you doing, how you dealing with this time and all that. And she's terrified. She says, I'm so terrified. I don't know what to do. So I think I'm coping with it just fine, but also there's other people out there which this new reality for them, it means, totally, something that terrifies them. So we have to share that hope. I give them words of encouragement and says, I mean, take it easy. Don't worry about it. I know that things seem bad, but remember, we have the hope, and remember that everything that happens, God's still in control. And I remember Romans 8:28, as we read it a few months ago. Everything worked out for good for those that love the Lord. Uh, and just sharing those words, it might be just enough for somebody.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I hope that everybody that has been on tonight has been able to benefit from the things that we've discussed. And I guess the takeaway is share hope, and if you have an abundance of it, somebody next to you probably needs some. So go ahead and share that as liberally as you can. Sinue, you had the good tips, man. You want to take us out with prayer?
Let's bow our heads. Dear Father, thank you, Lord, for putting us together, Lord. Father, in despite of everything that happens, Lord, we know that you're still under control, Lord, Father. And, just give us that hope that you have promised. You have said, I will give you peace, but not the peace that the world knows, because that's a different kind of peace. But I will give you the peace that surpasses any understanding. That means, Lord, that in despite of the conditions of the world, of exterior, or probably my own reality, Lord, we know that you are with us. That in the midst of all this, we're not alone. You are with us, conducting us through it, Father, and spread that assurance to the people that might need it, Lord. This is a time, Father, and we can see your power. We can see your reach, Father, and the power of the Holy Spirit. Please help us in sharing this message, Lord, to anybody that can need it. Like far away, and people that we don't know, people that we don't have direct contact with, but we know that you will direct this message when and where is needed. Father, thank you. Bless everybody that's here, everybody that's watching in their homes, Father, and just lead us through the storm, Father. We ask you all this, and we thank you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you to Dr. Lam for joining us all the way from the land of the sun, California. And thank you to all of our guests from the SD Care Group.
Care group. Yes.
Care Group. Thank you guys so much.
So what we're going to do, we're going to end the stream. Thank you, Moni, for hosting it again. We're going to end the Facebook and YouTube stream. But those who are on Zoom, I would love to just connect with you guys. So thank you so much. Everyone who's
Bye.
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 Shruti, I'll see
Bye.
you
Bye.
soon. Mwah.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.